Okay, so we're just about to start the results webinar, just sharing my screen with everybody who's watching live. Let me just move over and open the PowerPoint up, and then with a bit of luck, we'll be ready to rock. There we go. Are we there? Yes, we are indeed. So it's great to be here. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I really do appreciate it. We've got, I think, 37 people scheduled to be here today. Not everybody's arrived yet, so maybe they're hopefully going to log in any minute. But time's pressing. It's now 12:30, so we're going to get going. So, as I said, a big thank you for your attending. I really do. Whenever I run webinars, seminars, workshops, or speak at events, I often start, in fact, virtually always start by thanking people for their time. Because often time is the biggest resource we've all got. You know, we've all got an amount of money we can put into something, but when it comes to the time to put into something, I often believe that that's an even bigger commitment. So what I want to try to do today on this webinar is to make sure that you get the best possible ROI, or return on investment, not only from your marketing, which is ultimately what this is about, but more importantly, I think in many ways, from your time in being here. A very good guy that I know works in the sort of helping industry that you've probably heard of, called Tony Robbins, often says that knowledge is a waste of time, but the application of knowledge is everything. And I really do believe that's true. If you learn something and then do nothing with it, it's not going to make any difference to your business. And the same is true of attending the webinar today. If you attend today, and hopefully you'll think, yeah, it was really good and you learnt lots of new ideas at the end of it. But if you just go back to doing what you've always done, guess what? You get the same results that you've always got. And I'm assuming you're here today because you're not happy with the results that you're getting and you'd like to get better results. I really hope that's the case, because that's what the webinar's all about. It's called the results webinar, and it's about improving the results that you're getting, specifically your sales and marketing results. Because I've spent now 25 years working with small businesses, and I've literally worked in thousands of businesses in hundreds of different industries. And I've helped them to make, many, many millions of unforeseen pounds that they didn't realise was sitting in their business. And whenever I say that, it just sounds to me a little bit BS, to be honest. Yeah, Steve's made millions. That's what they all say. But actually, it is true. Not all my people who've been on my seminars and things have made money. Some of them have done nothing. But the ones that have, generally speaking, will have made a significant amount of profit. So anyway, on with the webinar. So today I'm going to show you a systematic way to generate leads, meetings and sales, so you can finally have the certainty and peace of mind so that you know you've got a tried, tested and proven system. I've developed this results system and I'm going to talk you through it. Now, I want to be really clear. I'm not here today to sell you the results system. If you want to buy it, then great. But I am here today to sell you on the value of having a system. In other words, a process, so that your business is not people dependent. You don't have a great sales guy who, if he left, would really affect your business. But you have a great sales system that you can teach new people your system to get the same high standard of results that your current sales guy gets. I hope you get that. Onward. Let me tell you a little bit about me just before we start. Some of you may know, others not, that many years ago I used to play table tennis. I was a professional player. I played at international level. I didn't quite get to play all over the world, but I did play in many different countries, and I also beat some of the world's top players. And the reason I mention that is that when you play sport, any sport at top level, it's often about attitude, and the difference between winning and losing is often very, very small, and so it is in sales. And I had this insatiable attitude when I played table tennis of constantly and never-endingly looking at how can I do this better? What is this? This is everything. How can I improve my backhand, my forehand, my footwork, my consistency, my power, my spin, my speed, my everything? And now I'm in business, I do the same thing. 25 years I've helped businesses to improve their sales and marketing. That could be the number of people who are coming to the website's conversion rate, your email open rates, how well you're doing on LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. Now, in this time, I've written 4 books on marketing. I mentioned made my clients over 100 million, I've said there. And one of them, I actually made 42 million pounds. Could you believe that? That is absolutely true. I learned all I know from being trained by the best salespeople in the world. I had this attitude, again, through my table tennis. I used to think, right, who's the best player I can practice with? And I used to travel over to Manchester to practice with the European champion and several other leading British players from my home in Sheffield. And now when I got into sales and marketing, I thought, who are the best people in the world? And there's a list of just some of them that I've learned this stuff from. And so I've gone to the world's leading experts, picked their brains for over 25 years, spent over 20,000 hours learning this stuff, and now work with small businesses delivering it to them. So you don't have to spend 20,000 hours, but you can learn the best of all these people and more from me. So there we go. So my objective here, why am I doing webinars? Why am I doing a free webinar today? Well, my objective is really simple. I want to demonstrate my expertise. I want to talk to you about the results program and maybe look at setting up a meeting with you, which I'll offer you at the end, a free meeting so we can meet up. And I really want to help you, to get through these tough times, because if you sit back and you think, oh, well, times are tough, we're not going to be able to do anything, we don't know what's going to happen, and we have that sort of attitude potentially going into a tough time financially, then, you know what the results are. 8 out of 10 businesses go bust in good times, let alone about tough times. So for me, my belief and what I'm telling people to do right now is almost, not ignore the fact that things are going to get tough, but, to basically still think, right, I'm going to push forward. I'm going to develop my business. I'm going to make sure that when I turn up in these tough times each and every day, I'm still going to be doing my best to grow my business. Because if you're not pushing forward, guess what's happening? You're falling back. It's very rare in life, in nature, in fitness, in health, in sport, in table tennis, in business, in marketing, in sales, that everything just stays the same. If you were like the leading business in your market or in your niche, in your area 6 months ago, and then you do no marketing for the next year, guess what happens? You don't stay the number one company because somebody else is going to take over that role. So we've got to keep pushing forward. Certainly I believe so. So I'd like to start by talking to you about what I call the 5 keys to success. How do you become successful? And these are 5 things that, based on my 25 years and learning from the top people in the world, that I've come up with, that I believe are the biggest mistakes probably that businesses make. So number 1 is very simple, but it's something, again, that so many businesses don't do. It's to know what you want. Know precisely what you want. Not just, well, I want to grow my business or I want to survive these tough times. What do you want? Do you want to go from like 1 million to 5 million, or from 100,000 to 500,000? What do you want in the next 5 years? What do you want in the next year? What about the next quarter? What about the next month or the next week? Excuse me. What about today? What do you want today in terms of new business? And it's really important, I believe, to know what you want and to know when you want it and be precise about that. Not I want to grow my business or I want more money. How much and when do you want it? And once you know that, you can know what you want or need to do. If you want to grow your business from, let's say, £1 million to 5 million in the next 5 years, then you pretty much know that you need to grow by £1 million every year. And if you know you need to grow by £1 million every year, then you probably know if you divided £1 million by 12, whatever that comes to, about 80, 90,000, a thousand a month. So if you're not hitting that, in month one, you're not on target to get your goals in after 5 years. So it's really, really important. Number 2 then is to take massive action. Now the key word here is massive. It's not a little bit. It's not, going on LinkedIn once a quarter or even once a day. It's not, saying, well, I don't understand digital marketing, so I'm not going to get involved with that. It's not joining the Chamber of Commerce and turning up occasionally. It's not being on LinkedIn and just posting once every week. That'll get you nothing. Doing a little bit gets you no rewards. Doing a normal amount gets you poor rewards, but it's only when you take massive action. When you join the gym, if you go down there once a month, you might as well not join the gym. Because it ain't going to do you any good. You got to be there 4, 5, 6 times a week for it really to make a difference. And so, that's really key. So the first thing I'd say to you, you want to do better, you want to create more leads and more sales, do more. Do more of whatever it is you're doing. And if you only did that, you'd probably get loads of leads. I know that's really simple. I know that's, you don't have to be Einstein to work that one out. But it's amazing how many people don't do it. They just carry on doing what they're doing. And I think it was Einstein who said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. And I see that all the time. I see people say, well, we don't really invest in marketing, Steve. We just go to networking. I do BNI and that works for us. And do you know what? They're not, the truth is they're not really winning much business. They're not winning anywhere near enough business, and they're not putting anywhere near enough effort into it. So take massive action. Number 3, measure your results. It's probably the biggest mistake that I see when I talk to people about, right, what's the results you're getting? How many leads did you get? Where did they come from? How many people visit your website? How many contacts have you got on LinkedIn? How many people came from LinkedIn to your website this month? What's your meeting conversion rate? If you get 100 leads, does that equal 20 meetings or 80 meetings? When you get into a meeting, what do you convert? Is that 70% or 30%? These numbers are absolutely and utterly vital for the future of your business. And if you don't know them, it's costing you money because you don't know what to improve. You don't know how to take it to the next level because you're just doing stuff without knowing where the weakness is. So you might be, for example, using Facebook advertising, paying £1 per click, investing £1,000 per month, so getting £1,000, 1,000 people to your website every month, but the conversion rate's rubbish. So you're spending all that money getting people to your site, but you don't record how many inquiries you're getting from it. You might say, well, we get quite a few, Steve, or, well, it's about such and such. There's no about it. I need to know that you get 86 leads this month. And then my job, if I was working with you, would be to go, right, how are we going to tip 100? Because if we could get 14% more, that'd tip 100. So what we got to do with this landing page in order to improve the performance? And perhaps, I got a client over in Ireland, an accountant, who's doing Google pay-per-click advertising. They're spending £2,000 a month. When I started working with them, they were getting between 15 and 25 leads per month. We did some work on their landing pages and their targeting of the paid advertising. And inside 2 months, we'd got that up to 75 leads, from 15 to 25 to 70, sorry, not 75 leads, 75 meetings, 75 meetings. That was brilliant. They were winning more than one new client every day as a result of it. So huge opportunity there. But without knowing what's working and what's not, how do you know what to change in order to improve it? The simple answer is you don't. So if it's not working, what do? You change your approach, right? You don't give up and go and do something else, okay? What you do is you change your approach, and you keep changing your approach until you find what works. Most people don't do this. Most people behave like butterflies. They flutter from one market into another. They say, well, I tried email marketing a few months ago. We did 3 email campaigns once a month, sent out a newsletter, and it didn't really work. So now we're doing LinkedIn. But to be honest, that's not really working. And, we've been posting on there once a day for the last month, and we've won no business, and you're not going to. Right? Because you've not developed the LinkedIn marketing system, a proven system that works, that you've refined, that you've improved, that you've worked on again and again and again. That's what gets you results, not trying it a little bit. Okay? So change your approach if it's not working. And the last one, step 5, is modeling success. Modeling success. Now, I actually got this little system here from a guy called Tony Robbins, right? Tony is probably the world's leading expert in what I'd call the helping industry, doing what I do, but Tony's a bit more expansive. He helps people in all sorts of walks of life, whereas I'm mainly business focused. But Tony helps businesses as well. And this is basically what I've just taught you there is Tony's system. But I wonder, I've modelled this on Tony. I wonder whether I could learn something else from Tony. Tony's pretty successful. He turns over 3 billion with a B per year. Now, we're not quite at that level. So I just wonder whether there's anything else I could learn from Tony. And I absolutely know there is. I've spent a phenomenal amount of time and effort learning from Tony, and I will probably, in fact, know probably about it, I will continue to do so going forward. If I wanted a e-commerce website, I wonder whether there's anything I could learn from Amazon. If I wanted to improve the design of my website, I wonder whether there's anything I could learn from Apple. Those guys are pretty good at design, aren't they? I wonder whether there's anything I could learn from them. And the truth of the matter is there's always somebody you can learn from if you take the time to look at who's the best in your industry. What can I adapt? Let me be really clear here. I'm not suggesting copying what they do. I'm suggesting modelling what they do. That's a big difference. I didn't go to Tony Robbins' website and cut and paste his words into my website. That's not on. That's not right, and probably illegal as well, no doubt. So, but I could model something from Tony's website, the way it looks, the feel to it, the structure of it, something like that. Okay, so that's the 5 keys to success. I hope you enjoyed that. Why sales now more important? Let's just talk about that for a couple of minutes, if we may. We're coming out of lockdown. We're potentially going into some tough times. Now's the time to take action. It really is. I cannot stress it enough. If you don't do this, if you don't take action, if you sit back and think, you're sorry for yourself and sorry for everybody else that, times are tough and it's not worth trying, then, the consequences of that, I believe, are dire. So, now's the time to take action. What was in the past is no more. If you were doing well in the past, it doesn't mean you're going to do well in the future. The ones who, get down that sales and marketing gym, if you will, are the ones who are going to create a successful business. Because we all know why businesses fail. We know they fail for many, many different reasons. But the two biggest, the number two, this is not what Steve Mills thinks. This is absolutely facts, not what somebody thinks. The two biggest reasons why businesses fail, I'm talking small businesses now, are one, poor cash flow, poor financial management. And people, my accountancy friends tell me that apparently when somebody gets a set of accounts delivered, they spend less than 2 minutes reading them, sign them off, and off they go to the tax people. But there's no value in that. So it's keeping an eye on the financial side of the business, cash flow and stuff like that really affects us. And the second reason, poor sales. I don't care what problems you've got in your business right now, whether it's people problems, time problems, customer problems, whatever they are. If you had enough sales, assuming you're profitable, if you had enough sales, then you could get over all those problems. You just need more business. You need more sales in your business right now. And we're going to talk now about how to achieve that. So there are two ways of increasing profit, because when I say sales are great, but if you went from, if you had a turnover $1 million and your profit was 100,000, let's say, so you got 900,000 of costs, and you went to 5 million, but your costs went up to 6 million, that means you're losing $1 million a year. That might not be so good. So really, whilst we all want more sales, ultimately what we want is profit. That's the purpose of a business, is to create a profit. And there are many things that we need to do to do that. But the two biggest, if you want to improve the profitability of your business right now and over the next 3 months, are to reduce costs and increase sales. That's it. Now, you can reduce costs a bit. You can save 5% here, and I'm sure over the last few months you've been working on trying to reduce your costs in your business. You've cut back on things, and continue to do so. If there are things you're spending money on that are, whether it's marketing that's not working, or it's just simple things like admin stuff, that you could cut back on, then, great, go ahead and do that. And then the other thing you can do is to increase sales. So how much could you do that by? Well, literally whatever you like, whatever level you like. I spent most of the last 20 odd years living in and around the Newbury area. And there was a little company there that started up many years ago, probably about 20 odd years ago, called Raycol Electronics. It was started by two guys in a garage in Newbury. You probably know the company now as Vodafone. And, they got a few sales in, didn't they? Became, I think, the fourth biggest company in the world. Excuse me. In the world. And, that's definitely something that, for you to decide. You don't have to become a Vodafone, but, if you want to go from, $500,000 to $1 million in the next 3 years, then you're going to have to do something about it. So there we go. So let me talk you through my results system, if I may. So results as a mnemonic, as you can see down the left-hand side. And it's a system that I've developed over 25 years. I've taken the best of what I've learned and I've turned it into, it's not really a marketing system, it's, I suppose, a business growth system, because it covers more than just marketing, as you can see there. And again, it's not that I'm suggesting you have to sign up for it. If you want to, I'd love to have you as part of the program. But I do think that, if you looked at your business now and utilised what I'm going to tell you, then I think it would make significant improvements in your business. So the first element of it is the results massive action plan, the map. We all need a map. We need a map to go from here to here. So what is your map, your business plan? I like to call it a map because it's more descriptive of what it really is than a business plan. I'm not talking about, 40-sheet business plan. I'm talking about a map. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? How are you going to get there? What do you need to do in order to achieve your map, your goal for your business? So that's step one. That's the first thing we do. Number two then is the elevation and understanding of current results. Because if we're going to do stuff, we've got to know, as I said a few minutes ago, whether it's working or not. Because if it's not working, then there's no point doing it. And as I said, that's one of the biggest mistakes. In fact, I'm going to say it's the number one mistake that I see businesses making with their marketing, not understanding their sales and marketing numbers. So we're going to get that covered. Step 3, we're going to improve our sales ability. That's the ability of you and your team. And we're going to do that in 2 ways. We need to think about the training that you've had. So, question for you is, what training have you had? How much time, money, and effort have you really put into being better at selling? Now, I don't know about you, but if you ask me that question, I'd tell you that I spend roughly an hour every day. I like to spend more, but it's the worst case scenario is I spend an hour a day. Now, when I speak to most business owners and ask them that question on my seminars and so on and so forth, they tell me, well, I've not really done any sales training, and the next word could be ever, or it could be for a good few years, or it could be this year. And when I say most, I'm talking probably well over 80% and even 90% of the people that I speak to have done no or very little sales training. Now, come on, would you employ somebody in sales who's not even been bothered to do any training? Give me a break. We've got to do this. We've got to take the time to do this, because if we don't, it's going to cost us money. So the number one action for you, I believe, is go and get some blooming sales training. Become better at converting leads. If you convert 4 out of 10 leads right now in your business, and you became a bit better because you did some sales training, and you got that up from 4 out of 10 leads to 6 out of 10 leads, which is only a 20% improvement, it's actually a 50% growth in your business. It's a 50% growth from a 20% improvement. Just examine the maths, and that will make a massive difference to you and your business. So, get on board with that. The next thing to look at under sales is your sales system. What is your sales system? Have you got it written down? Because if you haven't, why not? Because you need a system that is a proven system that works. When an inquiry comes in, what happens? What happens then? After that, what happens? After that, what happens? After that, and after that, and after that, and after that, what happens? Most people have got a 3-step system. An inquiry comes in, they send them an email saying somebody will be in touch soon. Somebody picks up the phone, they follow it up with another email. Or maybe if they get a meeting, they then send a proposal out and follow that up with a meeting. But I think it's very, very true that, most sales happen after 8 contacts. It can take a while. I got one client that says that their sales system lasts on average from getting the inquiry to getting the sale is about 18 months. That's average for them. Now, not suggesting that's great or bad, but it is what it is. But they need to keep in touch with people on an ongoing basis. And, I think people get very concerned about, well, I don't want to pester them. Plumbing pester them. You want the business, don't you? Now, don't pester them too much. You're not suggesting you're on the phone every day to them. But what I am suggesting, you have a process, a written process, and you review that process perhaps every week to start with, and then maybe having improved it to a level where you're happy with it, then go back to it once a month and work out what you can do to improve it even more. So sales mastery, really, really important to your business. Next one is understanding the financial and the legal side of your business. Now, obviously, I'm not an accountant and I'm not a lawyer. And what I'm going to give you in this part of the process is just a reminder of your legal and financial knowledge, really. If I asked you on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being awful, 5 being pretty average, and 10 being brilliant, have you got all your legal documents up to date and compliant in your business? Are they all, have you got contracts and agreements, and are you fully protected? How good are you on the legal side of things? What about the financial side? What are your processes? How are you maintaining good cash flow? What's your system for dealing with bad debts? How financially aware are you? How good are you at reading a balance sheet? Apparently, most business owners can't read balance sheets. That's not my opinion. That's the opinion of all the accountant friends that I've got. Say businesses, generally speaking, don't understand a balance sheet. So that's, again, potentially costing you money because you don't see where the business is right now. You don't see where the weaknesses are. I remember showing a balance sheet to an accountancy friend of mine. It wasn't for my business. It was actually a roofing business. And he looked at it, and within 3 seconds, he told me what was wrong with this business. Now, it just had that mind, 30 years in the accountancy industry, looked at a balance sheet and said, that's the problem there. And I can do that pretty much on the marketing side. I can go and look at a website or a sales letter and go, that's the problem with that email or that, whatever it is. And that takes a lot of experience, but there we go. So we need to improve that side of it. Then we come to the side, obviously, that I am expert at. I've spent 25 years doing, and that is the lead generation. Now, if you looked at your lead generation right now and said, what are you doing? If you're like most businesses, you're probably, you got a website, you're doing some social media, you may be doing some networking, although I appreciate at the moment with coronavirus and stuff, maybe not physical networking, but perhaps you're doing webinars and things like that. You're probably maybe doing some email marketing. Maybe you're doing some paid advertising, Google pay-per-click, Facebook advertising, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube advertising even. So you're doing, maybe 4, 5, maybe up to 10 different things. So what we need to do, or what you need to do, I believe, is to look at each element of that. And my first piece of advice is that probably you can't get really, really good being outstandingly good at everything, So what you want to do is to take one of those things, just one, and become really, really good at it. Because if you've got 10 things that you're average at, you're the same as every other business at, You're probably not going to get really good rewards. But if you took one thing and became really, really good at that thing, then you're going to get some really good rewards. I mean, take, for example, LinkedIn. You say, right, we're gonna do all this stuff still, this other stuff, but I'm really going to learn LinkedIn. Or perhaps it's Google paid advertising, the AdWords. And you've been doing it, you've been spending some money, and it's sort of going okay, although you're not really measuring it. But you're going to say, right, okay, I'm going to get this to a level where it's a money-making machine. For every pound we put in, we're going to get 10 back. And then the only question is, how much money do you want to put into it? And so you improve it and improve it and improve it. So no matter what it is, if it's your website, right, how do we get more people to the website? And how do we improve the conversion rate of those people? If we get 1,000 people right now, if we got that up to 2,000, that's great. But if it's not converting, if you're getting 1,000 people and getting one lead a month, 1,000 people a month visiting your website equals one lead, then getting 2,000 will equal 2 leads. But wouldn't it be easier to focus on how can we improve the number of inquiries we get from the website? So we're still getting 1,000 people, but instead of getting one lead, we're getting 20 leads, 30 leads, 50 leads even, and then get the 2,000. So that becomes 40, 60, 100 leads. And that's really the name of the game, I think, right now. Now, once you've got the one thing, what's step 2? You're going to get 2 things. You're going to find one other thing. And you're going to work on that. You're going to spend another 6 months really getting that down. You're going to get that as good as it could possibly be. And that's the process. Now, there's another process, which is sort of step 2, really, which is then looking at what are the things that you're not doing that if you did do could also create business for you. So are there strategies out there that you're not using? So if you're not doing Facebook ads, could that win business for you? If you're not doing LinkedIn paid advertising, then could that win business for you? Yeah, all these things can, but it's just a matter of whether they will. And so you need to, I think, consider those as well. But for now, let's just think about one thing and try and improve it. Now, the question may be going on in your mind is thinking, well, what do I need to do to improve it? Well, number one is to measure it to start with, to see what you're getting from it. And then number 2 is to look at things, the different elements of it. So let me give you an example. There's an old saying in advertising that the headline is the advert for the advert. Okay, so that 70 to 80% of the effectiveness of your advert is in the headline. So you could work on improving each and every headline in all your marketing. Or you could take the one thing and focus on the headline of that. So I'll give you an example. If your one thing was your website and you've got a page called Our Services, couldn't you come up with anything better than Our Services? Is that the most dynamic, interesting, thing you could come up with? Even if you changed your name to, accountancy services or landscape gardening services or, whatever it is you do services, that'd be better than Our Services. You've probably got another page called About Us. Perhaps you change that to How We Can Help You. Nobody's interested in About You. No, neither are they interested in About Me. What they're interested in is what I can do for people. So, there are things like that on a website you could change, things like that on an email, things like that on your LinkedIn profile, things like that on your Facebook advertising or your Google advertising, whatever it is. Go and test and change different headlines to see if you can improve the performance. What about the addition or changing the videos that you're using. If you're not using videos at all, then you should start. If you are using videos, then you might want to change those videos and improve the conversion rate when people watch videos. What about the use of pictures? There's an old saying that the picture paints 1,000 words. Adding pictures to your website or changing or improving the pictures on your website could make a massive or even a small difference to the conversion rate. What about the words on your website? Maybe making it easier to read, maybe more detail, maybe less detail, maybe putting the benefits in bullets on your site, so it's not just like a shed load of text that you've got to read. By improving the web page or the email or the social media post or the landing page that you're using, or even what you say when you go to a networking event and stand up and go, "Hi, my name's Steve Mills. What I do is this." That's the headline for you when you stand up at a Chamber of Commerce event and tell people all about what you do. So whatever it is, whatever you do, each and every element of your marketing, you need to try to improve. And one way of cutting that time and effort down and the potential of wasting money and time is to model success. Go and find somebody who knows how to do this sort of stuff, and then get them to help you. And that's where someone like me comes in. So if you want to need any help with that, by all means, get in touch with me. So the T in results is about turning satisfied customers into raving fans. And I got the idea of raving fans from a book called, believe it or not, Raving Fans. It's written by a guy called Ken Blanchard. He's also the author of The 1 Minute Manager, which I strongly recommend you buy. You buy both those books if I was you. Raving Fans, in it, Ken says that, having satisfied customers is simply not good enough. Because he says that satisfied customers are people who they bought from you and it was fine. They, came to your restaurant, had a half decent meal, the service was okay. They paid their money and off they went. And they might come back, but they weren't like raving fans. They were just satisfied. The old saying that most people don't complain, they just don't come back, comes to mind when you think of satisfaction. It was okay. Raving fans, on the other hand, are people who think you're brilliant. They, you have a great relationship with them. They're almost like business friends. I've been very lucky that probably half my friends right now were initially customers. I've got a lot of friends who are customers and a lot of friends who were customers, even people who've retired now from business, and we still keep in touch. And that's one of the things that I love about doing what I do. And so, what is your strategy? What is your system for bringing on new clients? What happens? What happens then? After that, what happens? What is your keep in touch system? What happens when they are no longer clients of yours? They buy something from you or they hire you for a period of time and they disappear, never to be seen again. If that's the case, then you need a system for re-energizing, establishing a relationship with those people so that you can increase the amount of business you've got. I often say to people when I'm working one-on-one, let's start by looking at what we're doing in terms of communicating with your current customers, because a lot of people focus on the hardest part of marketing, and that is winning new customers. By the way, there are 3 ways of growing a business. One is to create new clients, to win new clients, new customers. Number 2 is to increase what's known as the average unit of sale. That's the average amount of money each customer spends each time they buy from you. And number 3 is to increase the frequency of repurchase. In other words, get them to buy from you more often. So to put that in a supermarket metaphor, you've got to get more people to come in the door. You've got to get them to fill their basket more, or to fill it with more expensive products. And you've got to get them to come in more often, to buy only from you rather than from whoever happens to be the nearest supermarket. And the two easiest things to do there are to get them to spend more and to get them to buy from you again and again once they're in that buying cycle. It's much more difficult to sell to people who don't know you. There's no relationship, so they don't yet like you. And even worse, they don't yet trust you. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. If I don't know, like, and trust somebody, I'm just going to go to Google. But if there's somebody that I know, like, and trust, it's much more likely I'll buy from them. People buy, if you ask me what's the best form of marketing on the planet right now, Steve, with all this technology that's available, I would still say it's word of mouth, personal recommendation. So we need a process again in place for that, which is where number 7 comes in, the systems and practices. So what is your referral system? How do you win business from referral? What is your system for keeping in touch with current clients? What is your new client system? What is your system for improving the effectiveness of your website? What is your sales system? Do you even have one? What is your system for attending a networking event? What is the process? What happens before the event? What do you do during the event? How do you follow up after the event? Because without this, you're just leaving a load of money, a pot of gold sitting there without really ever mining it. And that's what all these marketing things are. They're pots of gold. And if you're only skimming things off the top, you're not really getting into it. Getting that gold mine and get your hands dirty is really what I'm saying here. So I hope that makes sense. So that's the result system. If you want to be part of it, just so you know, it starts at a one-off payment of £499. That gives you access to over 100 videos training you in each and every element that we've just discussed. That's a one-off fee, by the way. You get that for life, constantly updated with new videos and new information. Just pay 500 quid or £499 and you gain that. Or if you want to, you can work with me as part of a small group, and I'm talking like 5 or 6 people, and you can work with me advising you and helping you. That's a monthly fee, and I'll be there working in your business. We'll work as part of a group. We'll also have individual phone calls and things like that as well, and that's $350 a month. And lastly, you can work with me on a one-to-one basis, which we can discuss if you want to set up a meeting with me. So either way, if you want to be part of the results system, results program, then by all means let me know. So yeah, that's what I've just told you. So so there you are. That's really what it is. One final thing that I wanted to say just before I round things up. I promised I'd give you an idea about one of the latest techniques that Google have introduced. Google have just introduced something. When I say just, it actually happened back in December. But obviously with the coronavirus and everything, it's not really caught on yet. And it's something called geofencing. Geofencing is the capability of Google to put a digital fence around a building. So I'll give you a practical example. Imagine I ran the Steve Mills Health Club here in Portsmouth. And I've got a variety of competitors. I've got local gyms, I've got local sports halls, I've got David Lloyd just down the corner. And I go to Google and I say to Google, right, can you put a digital fence around all these buildings so that when somebody walks into, let's say, for example, a David Lloyd, as soon as somebody walks in with one of these in their hands, a mobile phone, I start advertising via the Google network to those people. So in other words, it enables me to advertise to my competitors' customers. Okay, so that is if you're like 99.9% of the businesses that I meet and speak to, they've never even heard of that. They didn't even know that technology existed until now. So if you want to know about that, then, again, book a meeting with me. If you want us to do it for you, set it up, run the program, we can do that. That's not a problem. So that's it. So geofencing, go and take a look at that. I'm sure if you, maybe YouTubed it, go and have a look. You can get a bit more of a description, but that's basically what it's about. So the question is, what are you going to do? I hope you've, picked up some ideas, some strategies, some ways in which you can grow your business. I really, really hope that you're not going to be one of those people who sit back right now and go, oh, well, the world's terrible. There's no point doing anything, because that's going to produce a result for you and it might not be the one that you want. So I believe that doing nothing is not the way forward. The other option is to carry on the way you are and just hope that, things change. But as Einstein said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. But I can tell you, doing the same thing when things are really tough like they are right now, and potentially they're going to get even tougher. So you're probably not even going to get what you've always got. You're probably going to get less than you've always got. The next step is to, take what you've learned, really, I suppose, from, today and maybe from other people that you're learning from, and go it alone, and good luck with that. And I hope that works out for you. And I think, that's definitely a step in the right direction. Or you could take the first step with me. Book a one-to-one meeting with me. You might not be fully confident yet. You've been on a webinar with me and you think, well, that guy seems to know what he's talking about, but I'm slightly unsure whether he can help me. Well, I can tell you, I've 25 years I've been doing this, and that really proves something in my eyes, at least, that I wouldn't have been doing that if I didn't know my stuff. So if you want to book a one-to-one meeting, really simple, just go to my website, which is www.stevemills, that's spelled mills.co. And there's a page on there that says book a meeting, gives you access to my diary. You can schedule a time that's convenient to you, and we can meet up over Zoom. So please feel free to do that. Alternatively, if you think, you know what, I'm definitely going to go for it, again, just go to my website, click on the products page, and then select either the online training, the group-based, or the one-to-one, whichever level of service you would like. So that's about it. Thank you very much. In the meeting, that's what we cover. So where are you now? How did you get there? Where do you want to go? What are the obstacles? How are you going to get there? And lastly, how we can help. So that's the link to the meeting. Thank you ever so much for your time today. Really do appreciate it, and I really wish you every success in your business. And as ever, you're only going to get there by taking action. Action produces results. So thanks very much. I'll just, if anybody's got any questions, I'll just stop my screen share and just see if we've got any questions. I don't think we have at the moment, but if anybody wants to ask a question, you've got about, I suppose, 30 seconds to do so, and then we'll bring it to a close. So I think I don't think we have. So thanks ever so much. Look forward to speaking to you again, and hopefully meeting on a one-to-one basis in the very near future. Thanks again, and speak soon. Bye.